Week 0 is officially over, and man, what a day of college football it was yesterday. We didn't really have any amazing matchups, but the Iowa State-Kansas State game was debatably a top 5 Week 1 / Week 0, first week / 2 weeks of college football. One of those types of matchups that were relatively big, and it turns out it's probably going to be pretty big for the Big 12 title race. But yeah, man, there's a couple of really good games, especially that Hawaii-Stanford game to end us off. Micah Aliahado leading his team off of one ankle, really, to a game winner. But here are some of my takeaways from yesterday's Week 0. Started off with the Kansas Jayhawks being a complete dark horse Big 12 team. Listen, a lot of people were calling me out because I had Kansas going 10-2 and into Big 12 title game. From what I saw yesterday, I think that pick could legitimately come true. Kansas was just so much better than Fresno State. I think a lot of people, they completely dominated them. I think a lot of people didn't watch the game because from what I've seen, a lot of people didn't think that for whatever reason. Kansas just completely dominated them, and it was 31-7, and they kind of left their foot off the gas. But Jalen Daniels is a Heisman dark horse for sure. He was clearly the best player on Saturday. We'll get to that here in a minute, but this Kansas team looked like the best team that played football on Saturday. Now, they did have some miscues, with alignment and holding and, some foul calls. Look, I'm going to be honest with you. Some of them were 50-50, and they honestly shouldn't have been called, especially on that 4th and 1 call in which Pickett gets the first down, but his helmet was ripped off his face. It was clearly a face mask. And instead of, because his face mask got ripped off before he crossed the line to get the first down, he's technically down. But I don't understand how you don't call that a face mask. I don't know. Anyways, Kansas completely dominated Fresno State. They looked like the best team yesterday, and they're going to be a tough team to beat, especially with Keenan Caldwell, who was, oh my gosh, he was unblockable. He was probably the best defensive player yesterday. I think he forced a fumble. He had a lot of tackle for losses. He was a disruptor. And if Kansas' defensive line plays like they did, they're going to be they're going to be a serious contender this year in the Big 12. And this one's kind of a continuation of the last one, but Jalen Daniels was clearly the best player on Saturday. I don't really think it was close. He was so efficient through the air. He made a lot of plays through the ground. And there were a lot of busted situations in which he just balled out, ran away from a lot of defenders, made a miss, and made plays all game. Clearly the best player. He's a dark horse Heisman candidate for sure. And like I said, overall, this Kansas Jayhawk team is going to be fun to watch. I think their record's going to be better than what it was last year for sure. The thing is, can they keep Jalen Daniels healthy, especially with that offensive line who is, let's be honest here, it's not that great. But if it's an improvement from last year, I definitely think Kansas can be that team that I think they're going to be. And specifically, Jalen Daniels is so fun to watch, by far the best player. And how about the Iowa State Cyclones? They're a serious contender now with that big win against Kansas State. Like I said yesterday, this wasn't their toughest game. It wasn't either team's toughest game, but this was such a big game because it's Week 0. And because it's a conference game, this means a lot more. And this is a rivalry game. And honestly, Matt Campbell has just been owning Kleiman. But Iowa State is now in the quote-unquote driver's seat because they're the only Big 12 team with a win in conference play, and Kansas State is the only Big 12 team with a loss in conference play. But, yeah, listen, I'm going to rephrase this. I really think Kansas State was the better team. Iowa State just found a way to win. And Iowa State, they're not the most physical team. They don't have the best athletes. But they are a really sound and fundamental team. And that's going to win you a lot of games, especially in these Week 1, Week 2, Week 3 type games when you're trying to figure yourself out. To me, it seems like Iowa State knows who they're going to be. They're going to try to run the football, but use Rocco Becht when time is needed. Now, they have all these transfer wide receivers that didn't really do much. They're tight ends. That tight end core for Iowa State is going to be pretty dang good. I think we kind of knew that coming in. But and especially with Hansen stepping up in the fourth quarter, maybe he's going to be like a Scadaboo type player. I not comparing him to him. I see that comparison already. Clearly, Scadaboo had more talent. He's more physical and more. He had more power too, and also was a lot faster, or quicker. But yeah, Iowa State's defensive line I thought was okay in the it was really okay. Mainly towards that second half, they started to get some push in there. But overall, Iowa State isn't the best team. They're not a great team, but they're a gritty and fundamentally sound team and a phototypical Matt Campbell team. They're a serious contender this year. And lastly, this could easily be an overreaction, but UNLV is not a playoff team. Let's just be honest here. Their line of scrimmage was terrible yesterday. They got completely pushed around by Idaho State. And early on in the first half, they couldn't, other than one run by Thomas, they couldn't do anything right on their offensive line. They couldn't really have much rush games and lanes. And wow, man, UNLV's defense is terrible. They were undisciplined. They didn't look right. They were out of sequence. This was just a terribly coached game. And Dan Mullen, here we go again with him playing down to his competition. I thought UNLV was going to come out and just roll the dice here and blow out Idaho State. And it really was from the first play. From the first play in which Idaho State was able to get 12-yard run, and that was kind of the tale of the entire game. Idaho State was able to establish a rush game off the rip. And it seemed like every time they ran the ball, they got 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 yards per carry. It just was ridiculous. And then you have the other undisciplined nonsense in which UNLV was talking a lot of trash to Idaho State players, getting flagged for it. There was a couple unsportsmanlike conducts. Then you had a lot of pass interference. I mean, just terrible, and a lot of mismanagement. Just a terrible game plan from Dan Mullen in Idaho State, or in UNLV. But you got to give credit to Idaho State, I suppose. I mean, they weren't that good. They haven't really been good in FCS, but their offensive scheme looked pretty good, honestly. But yeah, man, Dan Mullen, what a giant letdown for this UNLV team. I'm surely expecting them to bounce back against Sam Houston. They do have them on the road. I think they're going to blow them out. I think Sam Houston's just a terrible team. Sam Houston's probably worse than Idaho State, to be honest. But yeah, UNLV did not look like a playoff team. They did not look like the best team in the group of five. Hawaii was probably the best team in the group of five yesterday. And yeah, guys, college football is finally here. Here are my takeaways from week 0. Let me know what you guys think. Man, I'm so glad college football is here. And finally, we get into week 1 coming up this Thursday. Have a couple really good matchups. I'll have some prediction videos coming out soon. Thank you guys for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.